Hi everybody, welcome to the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword walkthrough. Today we will be covering the Skyview Temple. Yeah, I know I said Deepwood Shrine in the last episode, in the last chapter. I was, I guess, thinking of Minish Cap. No, this is the Skyview Temple. So anyways, as we walk in here, Fi will tell us that we can't douse for Zelda, among other things, but you can't use your dousing. It's not that big of a deal though, because the dungeons in this game are pretty linear, so don't worry about it. Plus you've got me. You don't need dousing anyways. So there's a bird statue here. There's a bunch of bird statues that you can save at throughout the dungeon, and they will also take you outside. So there's that. So once you've saved or done whatever you want, you can head down the hallway. There'll be a Keese there. You can kill him. Make sure you're looking out for their monster claws that they can drop. And then there's a spider web. So if you get caught in the spider web, just shake your controllers. It's not a big deal. Just take care of the enemies before you try and walk through them, just in case you do get caught. And then keep heading down. You'll see there's a little inlet. There's nothing we can do there yet, so just keep heading down the stairs. And keep chopping away at the Keese and the cobwebs. You'll see there's an amber relic there, but we can't get it, so don't worry about it. Instead, just keep heading down the hallway. So you'll see these trees with little orange spots on them. If you cut them around the orange spots, you'll actually get a rupee out of them. But it's just one rupee. It's just something neat added to the game to hone your sword skills, I guess, or masters. So once you get to the bottom of the steps, you'll notice there's a Deku Baba and vines that you can climb up. So the best way to get around this is to use your slingshot and hit the switch that's behind him, or you can stun him with your slingshot and climb up. Either way works. I chose the latter, but I think it's safer to just try and hit the switch behind him with the slingshot. So in here there's not much. There's another amber relic, and we can actually get this one by rolling into the wall there. So go ahead and do that and pick up the amber relic. Unfortunately, this game, whenever you save and quit, you have to look at all of the texts for all of the treasures again. Yeah, it's quite annoying, so sorry about that, but that's just going to be in the walkthrough. Basically every chapter. I do chapters singly. I don't record them all at once, so every chapter, every time I pick up a treasure, it's going to introduce it, so you'll just have to deal with that. Anyways, this eye thing, if you stand on the platform there and you rotate your sword around to, I guess, make him dizzy, you can go ahead and do that. And he will fall off and the door will open. Head through here and there's some more mews. You can get close to them to try and set them off, or just run right past them and use a spin attack to brush them off of you, and then head forward. So you'll notice there's another bird statue in here, but right away, once you head through the archway, you're going to want to turn around, pull out your slingshot, and take care of the sculptulas that are on the wall. Then climb up the vines, and you'll see there's a little inlet there. So this actually links us to the first room. It's a nice little shortcut. It's not that much of a shortcut, but it'll be useful later on in the game, so take advantage of it and don't forget about it. Then there's a bokoblin up here. Just take him out in the means we did in the last chapter. Basically, if you swing one way and then swing immediately the other way, you can take him out. Then on your right, you will see there's a switch right above the door, so pull out your slingshot and hit the switch. So then you can head through the door here, and you notice there's another spider web, but don't worry about this one. Just cut through and walk through it. And then if you head up, or rather jump down into the little water, you can crawl through a little hole. So now in here there's a switch that you can shoot with your slingshot, so go ahead and do that. And the water level will rise. What are we, a new water temple? No. We are in a forest temple, don't worry. We won't have to worry about this mechanic the whole dungeon. Anyways, now we can climb up the vines and head back through here. You'll notice there's a little brown spot of soil that we can't do with anything we've got right now, so don't worry about it. Then there's some new enemies. These are the big Skulltulas. And these ones basically use a spin attack to twist them around and then stab at their center. So they'll stay connected to their string, at least for now. We'll find a means later to cut them down from their string, but for now, that's what we have to do. Then you can head back through here and jump down. So there's some rupees here, but we can't dive, so we'll just have to leave them be. You could have gotten them earlier, but it's not a big deal. So head under the bridge and slash the switch, which will open the door that was on the left. Then you can climb back up the vines and head through the door that was on the left. So in here there's another bokoblin, take him out, and you'll notice there's some Skulltulas on spider webs blocking our main path. So unfortunately there's nothing we can do about these guys. If you try to hit them, they'll just kind of stay there and not do anything. So pull out your slingshot and hit these vines to unfurl them, and then go ahead and jump on them. So then you want to jump to the center of the platform. You can go all the way around and take out the spiders. Either way works. But there's a little inlet on the right, and we have to shoot a slingshot, or we have to shoot our slingshot in there to hit a switch. So you can do it the way I'm doing, or you can go all the way to the end, and then it's easy to take out the spiders. I display that in a second, so either way works. And this will raise the water level on this side of the room, so the water level in the main room is at its highest. So again, there's nothing we can do with that spider, so just head over to the other side. And here's an enemy we saw in the last chapter, the golden Bokobaba. So you can take him out. So to take out the spiders, you just stab them twice. So it's pretty simple. Then you can head out on the other side of the room. And there is a chest we can grab, so go ahead and stay up on the higher level here and open the chest for the dungeon map. So yeah, there is no compass in this game. The dungeon map is a tell-all. It shows you all of the rooms you haven't been to and all of the treasure chests you have yet to get. So that's pretty nice. And it reveals locations of locked doors as well as switches that you might have to hit in this dungeon. So yeah, it's a super map compared to maps from older games. But again, you are unable to use beacons in here because it's indoor. They're not going to help you at all anyways. So then jump down and try not to jump in the water like I did, because you need to get up onto this log, and I found out you can't get up onto this log from the water, so that's unfortunate. So instead go around and hop up on the vines if you fell into the water. Otherwise, jump onto the log, pull out your slingshot, and make sure you take out the wall Skulltulas, or the skull Walltulas, and then climb up the vines and head through the door that is up on this upper level. So we've already been in this room, but we haven't been to this side of this room. So there's another Skulltula here, and I had some trouble with him. I usually don't. Just do the same techniques you did before. Use the spin attack. For some reason I was hitting him twice on my spin attacks, and that's what was causing the trouble. So yeah, you use a spin attack, a sideways spin attack, that will turn him around once, and then you can just stab away at him. Once you've taken him out, stand in the middle of the room, and this time there are two eyes. You have to make sure you get them at once. If you get them separately, they won't ever get dizzy. But so if you stand in between them, far enough away, they'll both be dizzy at once, and they'll both fall off, and the little door will open, revealing a treasure chest. In that treasure chest, there is a small key. So now we can move on with the dungeon. So head back into the central room and head up. So this will take us to an even larger central room. So there's a lot going on here, but for the most part, I'm not going to do too much in this room. There's a lot you can do as far as like collecting rupees and stuff like that, little things. But I'm not going to worry too much about those. I have better ways of getting rupees, and I will share them with you when I need them. But for the first thing we want to do is pull out our slingshot and head and hit the switch, then head through. This will initiate a mini-boss battle with the Stalfos. So the Stalfos will hold his swords in a particular fashion, and after you hit him a while, he will try and attack you. Use a shield bash as he's attacking you, and this will basically destroy his arms for a second, so he's invulnerable. So he shouldn't be too bad. If you're having trouble with him, especially with the shield bash timing, don't worry about that. Just like backflip or something when he's attacking you if you aren't as skilled at the shield bash, and just attack him regularly. He's got a pretty big tell for when he's going to hit you. So, and for defeating him, we get the Beetle. So the Beetle is a new item to the Zelda series, as far as this game. Although this is the only game it's appeared in. And basically, what it is, it's a little relay item that will cut down some strings, but also you have control over it. So you can use it to scout areas as well as hit switches and things like that, which is what we want to do. So pull out your Beetle and direct it to hit the switch outside so the door opens. So it's a neat little item that we'll actually be using quite a bit throughout the game. It also slightly replaces the slingshot, although it's slower. But yeah, don't worry about that. I'll be using it in place of the slingshot whenever I can, in order to save ammo. But for the most part, its main use is to, I guess, get to places that your slingshot can't reach. It's not much of a weapon, at least for now. So now there's three ways we could go, although there's really only one way we can go, and that is on the left side of the room. So when you're on the left side of the room, oh well, there's actually one more thing in this room that we can do before we want to head, and that's to get this piece of heart. So pull out your Beetle and send him to the top, and don't fail like I did on this. I failed the first time because I hit a wall up there. So if your beetle hits anything, it'll just come back to you, at least for now. This is an item we'll be able to upgrade later. So send the beetle all the way to the top of this tower, and you should be able to get up there before the beetle runs out of range or juice or whatever. And go ahead and hit the switch. This will open up the door to the piece of heart. So head in and grab piece of heart number 4, which, if you've been following the walkthrough, should give you another heart. So that should be good, especially if you're struggling a little bit with the dungeon. Then head to the left side of the room and pull out your beetle, send him up and around into the little inlet that's behind the door. So I showed off getting a red rupee here. You can do this with all of the boxes around. Most of them just contain rupees. So if you're into that, you can go ahead. But in order to save time, if I ever need rupees, I will be grinding off screen. So once you've hit the switch with the beetle, head through the door, and you'll come to this long hallway that doesn't really serve much of a purpose right now. Basically, it's a puzzle of how we're going to get back, but we don't have to worry about getting back now because we haven't gotten what we came for. So head up and through the door. So in here there will be not a new enemy exactly, but an enemy who we haven't encountered before, or an enemy type that we haven't encountered. We've encountered the Skulltula, but not one that hasn't been on a string, or on a web. So he'll come down. You want to slash upwards, which will flip him on his back, and then just use your final strike. They're really easy, really simple, so don't worry about them. Then use your beetle and cut down the block, and you'll notice there's 3 eyeballs here. So in order to get the third one to notice us, we need to be a little bit higher, which is what we're going to use the block for. So cut down the block with the beetle, and then push it down, and push it towards the middle of the room. Once you've pushed it towards the middle of the room, stand on it and make sure that all 3 eyeballs are looking at your sword. Then move your sword in a circular motion. And then they should all get dizzy. And if they all get dizzy at the same time, you can open the chest that's behind them for a small key, which is what we came here for. So now we can start heading back. Like I was saying before, the puzzle is to get back. For some reason I climbed up here and I don't know why I did that. There's also another box that you can get some rupees from, if you feel like it, with your beetle. So now what you want to do in this room is use your beetle to navigate through the Skulltulas and the trees and hit the switch that's far at the back. We couldn't have done this with our slingshot, so it's nice to have some control over our projectiles. This will raise the water here, so then we can go ahead and swim to the other staircase. I like how this dungeon gives the feel that this place is pretty old, with a bunch of dilapidated staircases and things like that. Although I don't know why there was a mechanism to raise the water, but oh well. So there's another Skulltula here, and if you hit him, he will, or if you hit his spider web, he will come down at you. So again, hit him from the bottom, he'll flip up, and then use the finishing blow. So now back in the main room, you go to the right side of the room where there was a locked door. You can see it on your map too if you pull that up. And there are 5 Bokubabas or Dekubabas up here. So go ahead and use your beetle to cut these guys down. You might have to cut the ones in the middle down first, and then the ones on the sides. I ended up jumping off here because I heard the sound of a treasure falling, and I wanted to get it, but it actually wasn't a treasure, it was just some seeds, which is very deceptive of the game makers. And there are a couple yellow or golden Dekubabas down here. But these guys are kind of annoying in that they will avoid your hits sometimes and then attack you. So when they do that, try and time a shield bash, although these guys are harder to time a shield bash with. Much harder, actually. But luckily I did get a jelly blob from one of them, so it wasn't completely worthless for my time. Remember, stock up on as many treasures as you can because we will be using them throughout the game to upgrade our equipment. So then take care of the last Bokubaba if you haven't. Dekubaba. I'll use those terms interchangeably. And balance on the tightrope and head through the locked door. So in here the door closes behind you, don't worry about it. There is a new enemy here. These are my least favorite enemies. I forgot their name, but they can be kind of difficult, at least for me they were. The best way to deal with them is to wait for them to attack and then use a shield bash to stun them, and then you have to hit all three heads at the same time. So then we can head up into this next room after you defeat him, and Bokoblin here in the path, so defeat the Bokoblin. And then head up and use your beetle to defeat the Skulltula. So those enemies, the enemies in the room before are called Staldras. So, there's that. Anyways, head up and you can use either your slingshot or your beetle to hit the switch, which will create a shortcut to this room. So you'll notice there's a large door behind there. That's the boss door. So then head across the tightrope. There's a Bokoblin who will call for help, basically from a Bokoblin behind you. I crossed too fast to see him, but just jostle this guy off. He'll try and get on the tightrope. There will be a guy coming behind you, so keep note of that. I kind of forgot about him. But then head to the left and open the treasure chest here for some rupees. So here I noticed there was a Bokoblin coming behind me. Basically just go ahead and hit him off with your slingshot or your beetle, and then head to the right and climb up the vines. Here you'll have to jump to the rope that's hanging there and then swing to the next platform, then climb up the vines. So once you're up on the top part of the next platform, use your slingshot to hit to unfurl the two vines down here, and then go ahead and swing to the next one. This is actually kind of difficult. I recommend stopping and lining yourself up first instead of trying to line yourself up while you're swinging like I did, and because you're inevitably going to miss anyways like I did. So stop yourself and line yourself up first. That's the best way to do these vines. Then you can go ahead and swing to the little inlet here that we couldn't get to before because of the bars, and open the fancy looking chest for the golden carving. So there's one of these in every dungeon. This effectively serves as the boss key for each dungeon. So it adds a little puzzle at the very end of the dungeon, which is cool. I actually liked it. I don't know if this was a gripe with anybody. I think it's a cool idea. So there's a little puzzle solving just to get into the boss room. So yeah, we're actually pretty much done with this dungeon. It's not a very long dungeon. As you'll see, some other dungeons in this game will be a little bit longer. But the dungeon length is not too long because all of the areas leading up to the dungeon are basically dungeons themselves. So keep that in mind. And that's why they're all their own chapter, and I'm going to try to keep them all, at least the areas themselves, in the same video. I'll probably do side quests in separate videos, so the next chapter will probably be 2 parts. Anyways, adjust the golden carving the way you have to on the door here and head in. So there's a cutscene here that I'm going to let you guys skip. So I'll see you at the end. Okay, so if you haven't played the game before, I really hope you decided to watch the cutscene, because it introduced the main antagonist of the game. Yeah, the first boss battle is the main antagonist. That is so cool, and that's one of the things I love about this game, is that the boss battles aren't necessarily just hashes of enemies that you have to use your item against. It's just a sword fight, so it's really cool. Anyways, getting on to the boss battle, the first phase is pretty easy. Hold your sword over to the right or the left and then swing from the other side. And that's it. If he grabs your sword, he might take it for a second and try and hit you with it. Just avoid that. The second part of the boss fight is he will have multiple attacks. The first is to create 5 red things, just hit them or dodge them. The second is to charge at you. If he charges at you, you can either time a sword slash, but it's easier to time a shield bash the moment he leaves you. The other one, the third thing that he could do is disappear and reappear right next to you, holding his sword in a particular way. If he does this, just try and do a spin attack. I think that's the most effective way, because there's a 2 out of 3 chance that you'll spin attack the right way. So, otherwise you can just kind of run around the room and dodge that. So, yeah. Otherwise, this is Girahim, by the way. I don't know if I said his name. He's the main antagonist of the game, and he's the first boss of the game. But he's not too difficult, so don't worry. All of the jars around the room also contain hearts. So yeah, once you've taken care of Girahim, you can, or you'll be done with the dungeon. So yeah, it's really cool that so not all of the dungeon's bosses are like this, are just sword fights. Some of them do use the dungeon item, but it's cool that the first one, it's like, oh, I don't need the beetle to defeat him at all. I mean, I needed the beetle to get through the dungeon, but I don't need the dungeon item. Or it's not just some, lame gimmick with the dungeon item. Which, some Zelda boss fights have become. So anyways, head up and grab your heart container, which will increase your total life by 1, which is basically in every Zelda game. So, maybe not Zelda 2, but you get you get a level up at the end of a boss fight, so it's kind of the same. After this, head forward, and Fi will stop you, telling you that Zelda definitely has been here. So there's quite a few things I want to show off in this little area, so don't leave just yet. The chapter's not quite over. There's a few things we'll be getting. The first is, I didn't get this, but if you saw in the cutscene just there, there's a red rupee on the top of the left pillar. You can pull out your beetle and grab that. I should have got that. But more importantly are these birds here. So what you want to do is pull out your bug net, and you want to creep towards the birds very slowly, otherwise they'll fly away, and use your bug net to grab them. These will get you the treasure bird feathers. You only need 5 to upgrade everything in the game, but it's good to get them every chance you have. Then head behind this statue, and here there's a goddess cube. Yeah. The first time I played this, it took me a long time to find this guy. So there's a goddess cube behind the statue here. So go ahead and get that. There's also some fairies in the pond if you want to grab them. And when you hop back up, there should be more birds. Sometimes there will be these bluebirds, and these bluebirds are more rare. You'll get a bluebird feather from them. The bluebird feathers, you don't really have to worry about collecting them as much, because you'll get them in chests throughout the game. And you only need 5 of them to upgrade everything in the whole game, which you'll have plenty of by the end of the game. So don't worry about collecting the bluebirds. But anyways, yeah, send a Skyward strike at the blue thing, and there's a final little cutscene here, but I'm not going to narrate over it, so I will see you guys next time for Chapter 4, where we take on some side quests and Elden Volcano. So I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching, everyone.
まだ今ついてるそうにそうしたいしたそうですそうにそういうリクエストしてやってさゆべぜらが一応いるさしist ein heiß was war für ein Messer ist ein Schatz nun der ist so